Okay, here we are. At the top of your page, it should say multiply and divide whole numbers, multi-digit multiplication using partial products. Let's go ahead and review what we did yesterday. You use an area model to find the product. Go ahead and work this out and pause the video. Okay, so you should have drawn a rectangle. And it would be a 4 by 4 rectangle a 2 by 2 rectangle, so 4 squares. Here we have 42, which is broken up into 40 plus 2. Here we have 23, which is broken up into 20 plus 3. 3 times 2 gives us 6. 3 times 40 gives us 120. 20 times 2 gives us 40. 20 times 40 gives us 800. We add all of those pieces together, getting 966 as our final product. All right, today we will find the product of multi-digit whole numbers using partial products. Now, you remember from earlier in the year when we did a single digit times multiple digit numbers, that partial products and area models were super closely related, right? They were very, very similar. They simply looked a little different. Okay, so here's that problem done in an area model. We're going to look at that same problem just using those partial products in a different way. Okay, so the first thing that we do, just like we did here, 3 times 2 gave us 6, we're going to do our 3 times 2. Well, 3 times 2 gives us 6. Okay, and then we're going to do our 3 times 40. Remember that 4 actually has a value of 40. So 3 times 40, 3 times 4 is 12, so 3 times 40 is 120. We write the entire number below that line. Again, it's different from standard algorithm because we're writing the entire product down below. Okay, then we move on to our 20. 20 times 2, well, because remember this 2 is actually worth 20. It's not just a 2. 20 times 2 gives us 40. And then 20 times 40, 20 times 40, this has a value of 2 tens. This has a value of 4 tens. 20 times 40 gives us 800. 800. Okay, we add those together. 6, 6, and 9, so 966. This method is called partial products. And hopefully you're seeing a lot of similarities. We see 6 here. We see 120. We see 40. We see 800. We came up with the same values and we're adding them just like we did over here with our area model. It just looks a little different. It's a slightly different format. Okay, so let's go ahead. If you have colored pencils, that might help. If you don't, it's fine too. Let's find the product of 78 and 36 using partial products. Partial, again, has that word part in it. We're finding part of the product and then putting them together to make the entire product, adding them together. So here's our 78 times 36, okay? Again, we're going to start here, 6 times 8. 6 times 8, those are 6 ones times 8 ones, which gives us 48. Then we move on, we're going to do 6 times 7, but that 6 times 7, it's 6 ones times 7 tens. So that's 6 times 70. 6 times 70, let's see, 6 times 7 is 42, so 6 times 70 is 420. Okay? Again, it's like us asking what is 6 times 70. Then we move on to the next place value because we've multiplied that 6 by every place value that's in that top number. Then we move on to the 3. That 3 is actually worth 30. It's not just a 3. That's 3 tens that we see. That 3 is in the tens place, so that's worth 30. 30 times 8 ones gives us, let's see, 3 times 8 is 24. So 3 times 30 times 8 gives me 240. Then we do our 3, but it's 3 tens or 30 times 7 tens or 70. 3 times 7 is 21, but 30 times 70 is 2,100. Again, it's 30 times 70. Just because you see it just a 3, we pay attention to that place value because that's what's important here. Okay, we add those numbers down just like we do when we have area models. 8 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 8. 4 plus 2 is 6, and 6 plus 4 is 10. Don't forget to regroup that 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. And 2 plus nothing gives us 2. So our final product is 2,808. Now, if you want, you can always use estimation to check your answer. Well, let's see. This is close to 80. This is close to 40. If I multiply those, I get 3,200. Is my answer close to my estimation? Yeah, it's not too far off. I rounded up for both of these numbers, so that means this is going to be above my actual product. All right, your turn. Find the product. Use partial products to find your answer. 28 times 85. Go ahead and pause the video to work it out. Alrighty, welcome back. So we do our 8 times 5, which is 40. Again, you're writing the entire product that you get, that little partial product down at the bottom, on the bottom of our problem, below this line. 8 times 80, let's see, 8 times 8 is 64, but 8 times 80 is 640. 2 times 5, well, that's 10, but this is actually worth 20. So 20 times 5, that's 100. And 2 times 8, that's 16, but this is actually worth 20, and this is worth 80. So 16, oh, I have 2 zeros in my factors, so I'm going to have 2 zeros in my partial product here. Add those down, zeros. 4 plus 4 is 8. 6 plus 1 is 7. Plus 6 is 13. Notice that 1 got carried over, and 1 plus 1 gives us 2. Okay? If you had done an estimation, you might have come up with 30 times 90, let's say, and that would have given you 2,700. We rounded both of these numbers up, so this is going to be above our exact answer. But we see that I have 4 place values in my estimation, 4 place values in my answer. They're not super close, but they are close enough for us to see that our answer does make some mathematical sense. Okay, find the product using partial products. Okay, now we have a 3-digit number multiplied by a 2-digit number. 347 times 64. The process is exactly the same. We go through and we multiply this 4 by every place value that's there until we're done, right? Starting with the least place value and moving to the greatest place value. So let's go ahead. 4 times 7, these are 4 ones times 7 ones, gives us 48. Or why did I say 48? 28 ones. Then we're going to do 4 times 4, but this 4 is 4 tens, so it's actually worth 40. 4 times 4 is 16, but since it's worth 40, we're going to have a 0 behind that 16, making it 160. Then we move on. 4 times the 3, well, this is 4 times 300, or 300s. 4 times 3 is 12, and we have 2 zeros behind my factor, so that gives me 1,200. Okay, now I'm writing this stuff here for you guys just to see where these numbers are coming from. Is it absolutely necessary that you do that when you're showing your work on things like your problem set and your homework? Not necessarily. It's okay if you don't have that written down. These are very important for you to have written down, but I wanted you to see where we're getting these numbers. Okay, and it's also easier for us to remember then that 4 is not just worth a 4, it's worth 40. That 3 is not just a 3, it's worth 300. Okay, let's move on to the next place value on our bottom number, which is the 6. That 6 is not just worth 6, that 6 is worth 60. So 60 times 7, well, let's see, 6 times 7 is 42. 60 times 7 would give us 420. Okay. Moving on to the next place value, still using that 6 on the bottom number. That 6 is worth 60. This 4 is worth 40, or 4 tens. 6 times 4 is 24. We have 2 zeros behind the factors in our problem, so we're going to have 2 zeros behind 24 in our partial product. 2,400. Okay, moving on. 6 times 3, well, that 6 again is worth 60. That 3 is worth 300. 6 times 3 gives me 18, and I have 1, 2, 3 zeros that would go behind that. So 18,000 is our partial product there. Okay, let's go ahead and add all of these numbers up together to get our final product. 8 plus nothing gives me 8. And it's very important that these are all lined up. 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Notice I carried over a 1 here. I regrouped that 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Regroup that 1. Okay. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, and 4 plus 8 is 12. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So we get a final product of 22,208. 22,208. If I were to estimate this, maybe I'd estimate this down to 300, and I'd estimate this down to 60, which is since I did both of these numbers down, I know my answer is going to be smaller than what I got for my exact answer. 3 times 6 is 18, and we're going to have 1, 2, 3 zeros behind it. 18,000 compared to 22,208. Again, they're a little far off because both of these numbers were rounded down, and this one's not quite close, right? But we see that we're decently close with our estimation and our exact answer. Okay, your turn. Find the product using partial products for 472 times 49. Go ahead and pause the video and work it out. Okay, here we go. So we had 9 times 2, which is 18, 9 times 7, which is 63, but that 7's worth 70, so it turns out to be 630. 9 times 4, which is 36, but that 4 is actually worth 400, so we get 3,600 because of the 2 zeros that are found in the 400. 4 times 2 is 8, but that 4 is actually worth 40, so we get 80 as our partial product. 4 times 7 is 28, but that's really 40 times 70, so we get 2 zeros behind the 28, giving us 2,800. 4 times 4 is 16, but that 4 is worth 400. This 4 is worth 40, so we have 1, 2, 3 zeros behind our 16, giving us 16,000. We add down. 8 plus nothing gives me 8. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 8 is 12. We regroup that 1, write down the 2. 1 plus 6 is 7, 7 plus 6 is 13, and 13 plus 8 gives me 21. Write the 2, write the 1. 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 plus 3 is 13. Regroup the 1, write the 3. 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, if you did an estimation, maybe you'd do 500 times 50, and you would have gotten something like 25,000, which isn't super far away from our exact product, so we know that our answer was a reasonable answer. Okay, so what are partial products? Partial products are when we find the product. We find the parts of the products by multiplying each place value by a different place value in the other factor. Okay, so very, very, very similar to area model. It just is put into a different format. Okay, and I'd like for you guys to go ahead and solve 24 times 762. I always like to put the number with the most digits on top. Just because it will make my math so much easier. So much easier, right? So 4 times 2, that gives me 8. 4 times 60, you guys should have paused the video so you can work it out. 4 times 60 is 240. 20 times 2, I should have written this a little higher up, so let me go ahead and clear that. 762 times 24. So again, we had 8, we had 240, we had 4 times 7 is 28, but that's really worth 700, so we have 2,800. Then, so that's all the numbers that I multiplied the 4 by. Then we have this 2, which is worth 20. 20 times 2 gives me 40. 20 times 60 gives me 12 with 2 zeros behind it, so 1,200. 20 times 7, 2 times 7 is 14, but we're going to have 1, 2, 3 zeros behind that 14. 1, 2, 3. And now I can add all these partial products together to get my final product. Follow the place value. I didn't write it very well, did I? 8 plus 0 is 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2 plus 8 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. 2 plus 1 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. Plus 4 is 8. And 1 gives me 18,288. I hope that you guys got that right. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask your teacher.